Bayern are in crisis despite a huge financial advantage, and signing Harry Kane in the summer. One of the most dominant clubs in Europe are in grave danger of not winning their league title for the first time in 12 years, and in February it was announced that head coach Thomas Tuchel will be leaving the club at the end of the season. So what's gone wrong in Munich? Prior to 2023-24, Bayern had won 11 straight Bundesliga titles. During the same period they'd also won the Champions League twice, so this is a downturn in relative terms. Nevertheless, this season Bayern suffered a humiliating DFB Pokal defeat to third division Sock and have been unconvincing in Europe and are barely in contention for the Bundesliga, and all of this despite beginning the season by breaking the German transfer record and signing Harry Kane for €100 million. That Kane signing is a good place to start. Typically Bayern have not been engaged in protracted transfer stirs, and yet that is what the Kane deal became. While most German clubs prefer to conduct business early in pre-season or even before, Kane arrived less than 24 hours before the German Super Cup in August. The negotiations seemed to distract the club from other pressing squad shortages, and at a time when the organization was undergoing high-level change on the final day of the 2022-23 season, during which Bayern unexpectedly sacked Julian Engelmann after just 18 months. The club announced the departures of CEO Oliver Kahn and board director Fouad Hassan Hammock. Jan Christian Dressen, the long-term CFO, replaced Ka, with Christoph Fri becoming sporting director in July 2023 and Max Eel appointed to succeed Hammock in early 2024. But Bayern's movement in the transfer market since suggested a club yet to become aligned. They unsuccessfully attempted to rush through a transfer for Joel Pelia in the last 24 hours of the summer window. In January of 2024, the club concluded a quick deal for Sacha Boey, did the loan signing of Eric Dyer, and brought forward the future transfer of young winger Brian Zaragoza. In the 10 years between 2012 and 2022, the club signed just 2 players permanently combined across a decade of January windows. The last 2 Januaries consequently have delivered 3 incomings each, describing a different and more reactive strategy. Long-term change seems necessary though, because the 2324 season has its roots in a declining standard of long-term recruitment since last winning the Champions League in 2020. Replacing departing influential players has been a significant issue. Thiago Alcaro was solved the same summer. Javi Martinez, Jerome Bang and David Alla all departed on frees in 2021. Robert Lewandowski left in 2022, a year before Kane arrived. During those seasons, Bayern's incoming transfer success rate was alarmingly low. Since the summer of 2020, around €450 million has been spent, and yet neither Javi Martinez's defensive midfield qualities nor Thiago's passing ability have been replaced. Among the players who have arrived, few have had a positive impact. Le Rosanna has become one of the side's best players. Matthias T should become one of the finest talents of his generation, and Harry Kane has been prolific, but the majority are either yet to consistently have a positive impact or have already been proven unsuccessful. That inability to refresh the team has invited unquantifiable problems to like declining motivation among senior players who've won everything already reliably. A repeating media theme has been the disgruntlement of the dressing room and complaints about tactics and man management styles. Vague as those accusations have been, the team's decline has been easy enough to chart. Since winning the Champions League, Bayern have not been beyond the competition's quarterfinals, and while they won 3 successive Bundesliga titles after 2020, their points tally declined. Indiana each of those 3 years. In 2022-23 they may have been champions, but they won just 21 games, their fewest since finishing third. Indiana 2-0-1-0-1. Of course, the lack of a credible domestic challenger has allowed Bayern to decline quietly, but the noise and politics surrounding the club has also created significant drag. Bayern always attracts significant media attention, but in the years since 2020, and in no particular order, they endured a public row between some of their members and their supervisory board over a sponsorship agreement with Qatar Airways. Suggestions of ideological clashes between Al-Hunasthi former president and Oliver Kahn, and also AIM over the sacking of Julian Edelman, who found out about his dismissal via the media while on a family skiing holiday. And in February 2024 there was more flux and fallout. Bayern announced that Thomas Tuchel, who succeeded Edelman, would be leaving the club that summer. Tuchel's time was not easy. He arrived in early 2023 and fortuitously won the Bundesliga, but also dealt repeatedly with the media, most notably in a live television interview with Lars Moss. Tuchel also spoke openly during the 2023 pre-season about whether Kimmich, an 8-time Bundesliga winner, was capable of playing the number 6 role in midfield. Tuchel said no. Kimmich, when asked very pointedly, said yes. Rumored tension between the two was a topic thereafter, and there were tactical criticisms to the decision to often leave Matthias Talk on the bench. Mystified commentators and the selections in midfield repeatedly caused disagreement in what was effectively a title decider against Lens in early February. TLE made a series of surprise team selections and unexpectedly used a back three in defense. Bayern was soundly beaten 3-0. A few days later they suffered a back-to-back defeat for the first time in 4 years, losing to Lazio. It also completed 180 minutes in which Bayern didn't register a single shot on target, so there were statistical issues and apparently social ones. TLE wrote Raphael Hunstein for The Athletic hasn't been able to strike up much of a bond with a majority of players in the dressing room after implicitly questioning their credentials on many occasions. His reign was troubled then, but that fitted a pattern since Pep Guardiola left in 2016. Bayern have, including TLE, had 6 full-time head coaches, none of whom have lasted even 2 full seasons in the job. Among them only Hansi Flick and Jupp Heynckes, who were each appointed mid-season in response to the sackings of Carlo Ancelotti and Niko Kovac respectively, have had 10 years of relative tranquility, which speaks to the range of issues at Bayern Munich, the depth of which goes beyond simply who's coaching the team. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel.